with the invocation with Micah Muir from Tabernacle Baptist Church. And thank you, Micah, for coming.
Thank you, school board. Appreciate you guys, and thanks for this opportunity. But let me pray for you guys and for tonight. I don't think I can pray some AC in here, though. I'm not that good, but let me do pray God's help tonight for you all. God, we're grateful. We're thankful for school board members and their willingness to serve, and the rest of the school officials that are here tonight. Lord, we're grateful for each one and how they've dedicated their lives to the service of others. So, Lord, we're grateful for that. God, we ask that you bless them tonight with wisdom. Help them to remember your truth and what you would have them to do in life. And Lord, as they make decisions, as they prepare for a great summer, Lord, we just pray you give them wisdom. Lord, protect them, protect their families. And Lord, it's a busy time, often preparing for the next school year. And so, Lord, we pray you just help them to be able to accomplish all that needs to get done in this summertime lull. And God, we do ask that you would, most of all, be glorified through the actions of this board and the school members as well. God, we're grateful for all this. We pray these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. And it's Pastor Micah. I'm sorry about that. All right. And then the Pledge of Allegiance, the moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So we're already at public comment. I got to read this really quick because we have anybody. Pastor Davis signed up, so let me read. You know the rules. State your name, your district, and you have 3 minutes, please. And be kind and courteous. Be a Christian.
Hello, school board. My name is Sherman Davis, 5'7.5", 232 pounds. Yep, pray for me, okay? Got the message a few minutes ago and that I forgot about, so I grabbed my Bible. You know, there's a lot of verses in here, and so I just pitched it open and opened right here, so I'll read you a verse. And it says, this is a faithful saying in 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 15. And worthy of all acceptation that Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners. And then the Apostle Paul says, of whom I am chief. He gives us a description of ourselves. He says sinners. And who did Jesus come to save? He come to save sinners. All sorts of sinners, not just certain kinds of sinners, not just respectable sinners, better sinners than other sinners. But he came to save sinners without qualification and their pollution without strength, unable to save themselves. So he came to save sinners. So here we are. Amen. And then the scripture says that for our salvation, he come to save us, not just show us how to be saved, not show us how to save ourselves, not just to show us how that we can help him save us, but he came to save us. Thank the Lord, he did it all. For this is a faithful saying, worthy of all acceptation, that Christ came to save sinners. The description, our salvation, his name, the Savior's name is Christ Jesus. His name is above every name. Every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. And that is a glorious name. The fact is that he came. I came to King Georgia about 50 years ago, but I was somewhere else before I came here, a little town called Martinsville, Virginia. But he came. That means before he came here, he was somewhere else. And he was with the Father in heaven, and God the Father sent him to, of course, to save sinners, of whom the Apostle Paul said he was chief. And then there's the personality here of the Apostle Paul who says he was chief. That's because he lived so many years before me. And but God is good all the time. He's still saving sinners. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. I love you.
Me
I
too.
don't care what everybody says about you. I think you're all right. Amen.
Did y'all know that he was my age when I was born? He's getting old. Love you. Bye. Thank you, Micah. All right. Superintendent comment?
Thank you, gentlemen. You can still hear me in the hallway. Appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you so much. And since we have no other public comment, Madam Chair, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. We are, any changes to the agenda? There was? Oh, Ed, we discussed it. Okay, we're good for now. No, that wasn't even it though. But we'll talk about it later. Okay, no changes to the agenda today. Consent agenda. To approve it. Meeting minutes for May 4th, 2026.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from May 4th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve the donations from the consent agenda as presented. The internet's running slow right now.
Okay, I can explain. We just have one donation this evening. It's from John Clark on behalf of the Fraser Mason family for King George High School in the amount of $200. Ask for approval from the board.
General use.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that we approve the donation for general use of $200.
Second.
We got to do a roll call too. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And then, how do we do the roll call? Because it's money.
I'm sorry?
We have to do a roll call because it's money.
You don't have to, but it's not a bad idea to do a roll call if it is money.
How do we do that again?
Go down a line and ask every
Oh,
board
yeah,
member.
Thank you. Ed, Mr. Frank?
Aye.
Mrs. Hoover?
Aye.
Mrs. Scott?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Donation approved. And then the policy manual updates, and Dr. Boyd is going to take this over on how we can.
Yes, Madam Chair. So we've separated these policies for this meeting into two categories. The first mass of these policies, these are coming from VSBA. There are 23 of them in the consent agenda, and really they're there because there are just grammatical updates. Every 5 years, VSBA has to review policies. If you have an opportunity to look at some of these policies, you'll see that they've decided now that they want the word superintendent to be capitalized. They've changed some shalls to musts. They've just really reviewed the policy. The ones that are in the consent agenda this evening, the 23, are not substantive in change. So I'm comfortable if the board wants to pass those in mass. If you guys have any in particular you want me to pull out and speak to, I certainly can. The policies later this evening that I think are more substantive are in the discussion section, and we have 7 policies there. So if there are no questions, and if there are, I'll answer them. If there are none, then I would ask for a motion for the 23 to be passed for grammatical changes.
I think we do have some from
Okay.
Carrie. Go ahead, Mrs. Scott.
I just noticed that there were 2 different policies that had the same name and they were just reversed. Is that on purpose?
Yeah, so VSBA, sometimes they'll put the same policy in different sections because sometimes it'll have to do with instruction, and then that same policy will have to do with students. So it'll be, and that's where you see the slash, and there's a couple places where we have repeat policies that fall into 2 sections because they involve 2 different groups of people.
Yes. Dr. Boyd, on JJAG, Student Athletic Extreme Heat Safety and Protection.
Yes, sir.
We have recently introduced the flag system, which that is not in this. Should that be in this? You know,
It might be in the regulation. Let us double check.
okay.
Right. And then, are you good?
Yeah, he's double checking.
Okay.
All right. So we don't, I know I spoke with Ms. Fisher about the flag system. I think she has it as a procedure right now. We don't have a regulation for it. We can talk about drafting a regulation, or actually, I think that would be my preferred route, is to take a look at a regulation and bring that back before you guys to include to the policy JJAG.
So we can't make it a part of that, JJAG?
You can, but I mean,
Keep it all together?
You can do that if you want, if you think you can craft that language this evening, or we can table it.
No, well, let's just table it.
Okay, we can do that. We can table it and then bring it back to you with that added language. Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
I had,
You have, well, I just want to do Carrie's, then you go, and then I have one if that's okay. Yeah.
okay.
Are you going to read Carrie's?
No.
Oh, so Carrie, regarding the weapon detection one, there's the weapon detections down on there. Her
That's
question,
not on this. So the weapon detection one is in discussion.
well,
So you have weapons on school property.
oh, okay, that's good. That's fine.
that's a
All right,
different
then you
one.
go ahead with yours. Thank you.
For IJ, that is regarding guidance and counseling program. How much notice will parents get before their child gets personal or social counseling?
It would be prior notice, I think. I don't know the actual number of hours or days in there.
It just,
Want me to see if I can get an answer for you on that?
that would be nice. I just want to make sure that kids aren't getting social or personal counseling without parental consent.
And that's like gonna, even if they just get out of class and want to go see their counselor, how would that work? That would,
So we have what do you call it? An appointment system right now that they
Oh, okay.
use to come, and then
there are some, but I guess they have IEPs or something, but there are some.
and oftentimes if there's those kind of situations, usually if they come to the counseling office quite often, then it's something that we're talking to
Yeah.
parents about.
Okay.
Rachel, there is that last sentence in there that's, parents can opt out totally as well if they feel strongly about it.
Yeah, just want to make sure that they have an opportunity before it begins.
Understand, yeah. Okay. Mine was regarding the, let me find it really quick, sorry. Is it, right there. JFCA, teacher removal of students from class. That states that they have to have 3 incidents before they can remove a student from class.
For a teacher,
Yes, no, for the teacher to remove a student, they have to have 2 written incidents and then a 3rd one before they can remove a student.
that's if the teacher does it. So I mean, they can write a discipline referral, and then
What if there's behavior that the kid needs to be removed and the teacher,
they're out right away. Yeah,
they
so
just call the,
they would call the principals, and the
Admin.
principals would remove the student.
okay, what's the difference if a teacher does it? Like verbal, like physically?
No, it's never physically.
No, I mean like walks him to the office? What's the difference if it's?
So it's just, I think the way this reads to me is basically just having a paper trail before your first inclination is to remove a student from the class. So you basically have reasons leading up to it.
But does this limit them, or are they going to get in trouble if they had to remove a student on the first go round?
No, they're not going to do that. They're going to call administration, and administration is going to remove that student.
Okay,
I believe what this policy is referring to is taking a student out of class, period. Instead of for short term, he's out for the whole and
Oh,
goes to another
okay.
class.
Like removing a student
Like
from class.
removing a student and goes to another class.
okay. I just didn't want to like limit a teacher. It's necessary.
Yeah, so I also had that same question. So does the teacher have the authority to, like, if a child is being disruptive, to just say, you need to go see the principal, go to the principal?
They usually call the administration to get support. They don't want to just send them
Okay.
out into the hallway.
Back in my day, they. All right, anybody else? Okay, so I guess we just removed the one that Ed wants to table
Yeah, that'd be
and
fine.
cover the rest. So do we get a motion to approve these minus, which one was it?
JJAG.
JJAG. Yeah, I wrote it down. Right here, Kathy. So, oh, you got it? You got it?
I make a motion that we approve the policies as presented with the exception of JJAG.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And policy meeting updates approved. Moving on to action items. That was really loud. School board meeting schedule update. Dr. Boyd?
So we have 2 things that we would like to formally have the board recognize this evening. The first is the official canceling of the July
16.
6th school board meeting. And then I would like to request, we have a school board meeting on October 26th. We did receive the VAS schedule, and we have a VAS superintendent meeting on that day. So as we've done in the past, I was hoping that we would be able to move that to Wednesday, October 28th, if possible, on that week.
We would love to spend your birthday with you.
Yeah, that is
October 28th is Dr. Boyd's birthday, and we're going to have a school board meeting.
I'd love to hang out with you guys that evening.
And you just can't wait. Best day ever. Can we get a motion to approve moving canceling July 6th and then changing from October 26th to October 28th?
Madam Chair, I move that we delete the July 6th meeting from the agenda and change the October 26th meeting to October 28th.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, chair votes aye, motion carries. Revised allocation for Title II funds, is this 2024-25? Oh, okay, because those were when the funds came. Dr. Boyd?
Yes, Madam Chair. So without the July meeting now, we have a lot of business items for you this evening in action. So I'm just going to go through those at the board's direction. The first of which is the 24-25 Title II revised allocation. In October of 2025, King George County Schools was awarded Title II grant funds from VDOE in the amount of $104,369.27. The Title II allocation was revised for an increase of $664.02 for a total grant award of $105,033.29. I would request this evening a motion from the board to pass that revision.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the increase of $664.02 into the 24-25 Title II grant and budget supplement.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, can we do?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
Next up, Madam Chair, we have the 2025-2026 Carl Perkins Grant revised allocation. This is the money that we get annually from the federal government for CTE. In October of 2025, King George County Schools received an initial 2025-26 Carl D. Perkins grant allocation of $59,580.84 from VDOE. The state subsequently redistributed unused, unreimbursed statewide funds in the amount of $1,464.69. I would request a motion from the board this evening to accept the increase.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to accept the increased allocation for the 25-26 Carl Perkins grant in the amount of $1,464.69.
Second.
Any discussion? So I'm not going to do roll call because we have a few of these to go through.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we're not doing it now. All right. He seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Votes aye, motion carries. D,
Yes, Madam Chair. So this evening, we have our Intervision contract renewal. This purchase requisition is in the excess of $50,000, so it requires board approval. This is the software that we use for our 24/7 monitoring and threat detection, rapid identification of suspicious activity on our network, expert investigation of security alerts, faster response to potential incidents, visibility across district managed devices. The recommendation of the superintendent that the school board approve the issuance of a purchase order to Intervision in the amount of $97,029.12 for the period of July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, Madam Chair. This is budgeted funds.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the issuance of purchase order to Intervision in the amount of $97,029.12 for the period of 1 July 2026 through June 30, 2027.
any
I have a question.
we need a second first of the motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is this the same company we used this past year?
Yes.
Are we happy with the service? Okay.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Who seconded that?
Ed did.
Ed? Okay.
E, grant application.
All right, so we are now going to the 2026-2027 Title I Grant Funds, Part A, Improving Basic Programs. I won't read all this. I think we know now what Title I is. The Virginia Department of Education has projected the Title I grant allocation for King George County Schools to be $516,189.24. I would request a motion this evening to accept those funds.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the funds on the amount of $516,198.24 from the Department of Education for the Title I grant allocation for 26-27.
I second.
Any discussion? We just have a correction. It's 189. He added $10. He would if you could.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. F,
Madam Chair, we have our 26-27 Title II grant, Title II Part A, supporting effective instruction. This is the money that we use for professional development for our educators. If we work our way down, we're basing this grant allocation on funding from the 25-26 award year in the amount of $105,033.29. I would request a motion this evening to accept those funds on behalf of King George County Schools.
it's federally funded.
Madam Chair, I recommend that we approve the Title II grant in the amount of $105,033.29.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question. So this grant has already been awarded, so we're,
So what we do right now is we have to do the grant application, and we create the grant application based on current year funding. We will probably get a revised allocation like we have in some of the other grants that we're approving this evening, and we'll likely have to bring it back before you with the exact amounts, but we won't know those until the federal government provides those. It'll likely be right around that same amount.
so is this motion to submit this grant for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, correct. I'm sorry.
All right. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Moving on to G.
Okay, we're working our way through the grant application. So we are now on Title III. Title III Part A of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, officially known as the English Language Acquisition. We do have a small ELL population in King George County, but we do receive funds and we do use them appropriately for those services. The grant application is based on last year's funds of 25 in the 25-26 school year in the amount of $7,952.35. We would request a motion from the board to submit that grant application for funding.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we submit the grant application for 25-26 in the amount of $7,952.35 for Title III Part A.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. H.
All right, so our last title, our federal title program, Title IV, Part A grant application. These funds are used for student academic achievement by increasing the capacity of the state's local education agencies, schools, and local communities to provide all students with access to well-rounded education. Again, we're drafting this based on 25-26 funding levels, which were in the amount of $36,710.39. I would request a motion from the board this evening to submit that grant based on that fund allocation.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the Title IV Part A grant application in the amount of $36,710.39.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Moving on to I, acceptance of funds. Now we're accepting funds.
Now we're accepting funds, and so this is a state acceptance of funds. So this is for our school security officer continuation grant.
Oh,
Our school security officer continuation grant is a 4-year recurring grant. So for the high school, we are going into year 4. That's something to think about when we're certainly going to attempt to apply for the grant again and see if we can get an additional 4 years. However, if we don't, you may see in our budget proposal this coming year, locally picking up the funds for this school security officer. I haven't talked to anybody that doesn't think that the presence of our school security officer at the high school and the middle school, it's been good marks all across the board. So we'd like to continue that moving forward. In this 4th year of the high school grant, we would be requesting an amount of $54,635. Well, we would be accepting an amount of $54,635. There is a local requirement in the amount of $19,893, which we budget for and are covering right now. So the motion this evening would be to accept the grant award of $54,635 from the School Security Officer Continuation Grant from DCJS.
Madam Chair, I move to accept the grant award of $54,635 from the School Security Officer Continuation Grant from DCJS.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Dr. Ward, is there some talk of having 2 officers at the high school?
Is there, say that again?
Is there some discussion of having more than having another officer at the high school?
I'm sure it's something that we wouldn't mind having. If we submit an additional grant application, usually they're surveying the state to see if there's any schools that do not have one to begin with. So it might be hard to get a second one after we've have one already. But we could fund one locally if the school board deems that to be appropriate.
No, but just a portion.
Might be. Are you done, Mr. Frank?
Yes.
How long have we been accepting this grant?
This will be the 4th year.
What I mean is, like, have we ever done
No.
no prior years? Because why is the middle school already just starting 1 year? Did we start it before they did?
We started, the high school started first. We applied for the grant and received it. And then we attempted, I think, in the 2nd year, didn't receive it. And then I want to say the 3rd year we applied for it via middle school and received it that year. So now you'll see it in the next agenda item. We just completed year 1 at the high school. So at the middle school. So we have 3 additional years on the grant at the middle school.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Moving on to J. Another
Yes,
one.
Jay. So, so this is the same thing for the middle school. The middle school is in the amount of $55,650. There is a local contribution of $20,262 that we do have budgeted and are covering. I would request a motion from the board this evening to accept the grant allocation of $55,650 for the School Security Officer Continuation Grant from DCJS.
Madam Chair, I move that we grant the award of $55,650 for this school security officer continuation grant at the middle school.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Thank you, Edward. And now we're at K, Post-School Insurance Reimbursement Fund.
Yes, so this is one that I'm certainly happy and proud about. Jen and her investigative skills, our new financial secretary, Jen Brody, or it's not secretary, director, supervisor,
The boss.
supervisor, thank you. Has gone through and reviewed some of our accounts and has gone back and seen that in 2018, King George County and King George County Schools established the School Insurance Reimbursement Fund, anticipating the expected major tax increases that came along with the Affordable Care Act. At that time, there was believed to be a large tax associated with certain healthcare plans so that they could cover some of the new expenses associated with the Affordable Healthcare Plan. They thought the school division was going to get taxed heavily at the time. So the county and the school division set aside funds for that in the amount of $50,000. And since that time, 2018, that tax never came to fruition. So we never received those type of taxes from the Affordable Health Care Act. So that $50,000 has been sitting in the account. What we've also come to find out is that any type of medical reimbursement, any money we get that falls under that category, the county treasurer has been putting back into that account. So that account right now sets at $95,459.95. What I would request this evening is a motion to close the school insurance reimbursement fund and move the remaining cash reserves of $95,459.94 to the school operating fund. The only tax we receive right now is a federal excise payroll tax in the amount of about $2,500 annually. So we're well within budget means to cover that cost, and we would benefit from moving this to the school operating fund. Any questions?
Well, I
School
think
operating fund is at 250,
Yes.
and that's a general fund.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else questions?
I don't know. Do we need to do motion then discussion?
Uh,
Does it matter?
you do a motion, take a second, and then ask if there's any questions.
'Cause I do have some questions.
I make a motion to close the school insurance reimbursement fund and move the remaining cash reserves in the amount of $95,459.94 to the school operating fund.
Second.
Any discussion? Frank?
No.
Couldn't we use this money to kind of offset the health insurance increase? Or has that been considered?
Probably not, because these are going to be one-time funds, and the
Oh,
health
okay.
insurance
Yeah.
increase are going to be recurring
Ongoing.
funds.
Yeah.
There's some things that we can do with those
I
funds.
thought about it.
But
I'm
it
sure
won't
you-
it won't really serve as well for the health
Right.
insurance increase.
I see what you're saying. The other thing, because we had mentioned to you about maybe doing an audit, and so it shows that she's kind of looking through and cleaning up a bit and finding stuff, and that's why it's important. So thank you for doing that.
Dr. Boyd, can we use these funds for personnel,
In what capacity?
new positions?
Not new positions, because we would have to continue that salary year over year. I mean, we could only pay that, we could use it for 1 year for a salary, but
So
we would have to make sure we budget it as a recurring cost in the FY28 budget.
So we're talking pretty much a one-time occurrence.
It's really one-time kind of money, and there are plenty of one-time expenses that
I've
we
already
have.
got it spent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favor?
Hi.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries to close this account and move the funds to the general fund, school operating fund. All right, moving on. We are now in discussion items for the policy manual updates.
Yes, Madam Chair. So I'll just go through these in order, and you guys can stop me. I think some of them we can get through rather quickly. They are VSBA updates, but they are substantive change. So that's why I put them down in discussion. And then at any time, if we want to talk in greater detail or if you have questions, just slow me down and I'll be sure to stop. So the first one is GCBEA. This is a VSBA update. This policy is titled Leave Without Pay. We are going to review this policy and regulation through HR in greater detail for some things that we have locally. However, the update that we are looking at this evening is one strictly from VSBA, and it has to do with school employees that are elected to offices, public offices, local offices, and it affords them the opportunity similar to the reserves and things like that, where if they get elected, they can go serve in that capacity, and then they have the ability to return to King George County Schools and have their job back. That's what this change is this evening from VSBA. I imagine it comes from something that's happened across the state somewhere, and I'm comfortable with updating it in our policy manual. I don't know that we've had the situation or that we will, but I'm comfortable updating or passing that this evening. And just so you guys know, at the next school board meeting, we're going to bring you a leave without a pay regulation that's going to have some updates for us in terms of some policy and regulation changes we have locally for leave without pay.
Dr. Ward, when I read this, it was talking about a 4-year 4-year leave of absence for educational purposes and things like this. But then at the, next to the last line or so, it said that you couldn't make any money at any of this stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, really.
I know. I read it that same way, and I'm thinking something must have happened across the state somewhere, and this is the kind of thing where it's
Well, it does say they
It-
can receive.
it's not going to affect us, I don't think. But I'm comfortable in passing it. It's similar to policies that we have for military leave and things of that nature. If you get elected to public office, then you have the opportunity to take that role. It's leave without pay for King George County Schools, but we would honor you returning after that period of public service expires.
Yeah, okay.
Is it something that we need? Is this a policy that we need, or do we already have local policies? Can we throw this thing out?
So we have this policy in everything except what's in red right now. The only thing we would be updating this evening, if the board decides they don't want to update in red, I don't think that we've found anything that says that we have to. Of course, if we find ourselves in that position for whatever reason, then we would need to fall back on something. But
It is a requirement from a Virginia code. Like I knew when I was in the military that as a military spouse, if I had to leave whatever reason, that I think we have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
so yeah, Aaron's pointing out that it's from House Bill 139. So it looks like it probably passed on the state level.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So did we get a second? Yes, discussion. Any, all those in favor?
Aye.
Well, who made the motion?
Oh, we didn't make motion yet?
Make a
Oh,
motion.
see, we went to straight discussion. Sorry, it threw me off.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept policy GCBEA as presented.
I second.
All those in, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
Okay, so next up, Madam Chair, is a new policy. This is IK. And again, this came from Senate Bill 817. And what it references is language in notification to parents about learning objectives. If you see, all of the text is in black because the entire policy is new. I can tell you that Ms. Fisher and her team have done the background work to make sure that we have procedures in place that we can implement this upon board approval. So at this evening, I'm prepared to take a motion from the board.
Madam Chair, I like to make a motion that we accept policy IK as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so this policy kind of takes away some of the mass confusion, I guess.
It's going to, I think it's going to help the pipeline between communication between home and the school. I think you'll see the next one that kind of goes hand in hand with this, which is titled the Parental Rights and Responsibilities. You know, during the Youngkin administration, there was a lot of talk about making sure we're empowering parents. I think this is a spillover that came through the General Assembly. So
I kind of mean, I'm not dogging the administration. I mean, the parents and students communication, because kids sign up for classes, parents
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know, and there's little, okay.
yeah, you're right. I think this will drastically help that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries, policy approved. KP?
Did we have a motion there? Yeah, Kathy made a motion. Yeah. Mhm. So next is KP. KP is, again, in reference to Senate Bill 109, same thing, parental rights and responsibilities. We're updating this policy to reference what we just passed in the brand new IK policy. And you'll see the bullet below for students in middle and high school. They should receive notification by email or SMS text messaging in accordance with Virginia code. Of course, registration deadlines and the process for requesting changes to the student's course selection process.
I really like this,
Yeah, it is good.
because if you don't check that online, what is it, Power School, you miss stuff.
Yeah.
So, with your older kids usually.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept policy KP as presented.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. JN.
Yes, Madam Chair. So annually over the summer, this is always one that we'll take a look at because we always have increases based on certain things that go on across the state. If you look below, you'll see the red version of the policy. You'll see an increase in lunch prices. Again, we vet these and approve these with the state. And then if you see below, we've lowered some prices for screen repair for Chromebooks and Chromebook replacement. And then finally, we have increased the cost of the behind the wheel driver education, which we've talked about in the past. Right now, currently, prior to board approval, the cost is $175. We're recommending an increase of $250. We have to turn a form in with the state every year. And the state said we can go as high as I think it was $383 or something like that based on the formula. But I can tell you that's the $250 right now is still probably half the price of what I've seen from private organizations. So I think this is more in line with covering our costs in terms of the vehicle, the instructor, the instructional materials, those things that we need to run that program. So, Madam Chair, this evening I would request a motion to approve policy JN as presented.
Dr. Boyd, back to the behind the wheel. Do you know how much the instructor is getting paid per hour? It used to be $25. Is it
35 right now.
35 now? That's still.
Yeah.
Still not enough.
What is this, on a different note, on the cafeteria fees, how are we going to be giving free breakfast to everybody? Is that statewide or is that?
So I believe I think those are SIP schools and we currently only are approved for free breakfast and lunch for everyone at King George Elementary School. And I haven't heard that changing as of yet.
Okay. I thought that this was for
Across the division.
across the division, so thank you.
Yep.
All right, so Kathy made a motion.
Got a motion?
Did you make a motion?
No, we need a
Not
motion.
yet.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we accept policy JN as presented.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll say aye.
Aye. Bring this.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. And we don't have to say anything about the updating the cost?
No.
Okay.
No, we'll advertise those and we'll push it out after board approves.
Okay,
Yeah, the board doesn't have to do that though.
all right. Moving on to JFGRKKR.
Yes, Madam Chair. So this is our regulation for security screening for students, staff, and visitors. It talks everyone through the purpose of our weapon detection system, the applicability, the required screenings and the secondary screenings associated with our process right now, the requirements that we would have for individuals that are on the screening teams, and what we expect of the principal and the superintendent, and training requirements associated with our weapon detection system. So if you remember at one of our last school board meetings, it was discussed having a weapon detection regulation. This is our effort to create that, Madam Chair.
So Miss Cleveland had sent a couple questions about the training on the weapons detection system, and has everyone that currently monitors the systems been trained so far? And is there a training document that we can review? It says in the policy that superintendent can develop and implement expectations as needed. When these changes are implemented, should the board review or at least the policy be updated when that happens?
Yeah, this is one I think that you guys should look at maybe annually on the front end. Right now, I think principals are probably developing who their teams are going to be this coming year. So I would imagine, again, I'm shooting from the hip a little bit, but during in-service week, we would probably be determining who's going to cover those duties. And the training right now, we certainly have some literature and things like that from DCJS and from the manufacturer, but I think in training is going to be internally in terms of our own processes and procedures per the regulation.
Okay, thank you.
Also, maybe, because I've been to a couple school functions where there's no metal detector.
Say that again.
I said I've been to a couple school functions where there's no metal detector. I understand lack of, but maybe if we maybe come up with like a volunteer committee.
Yeah, we would have to make sure. So right now, our school employees have background checks, and they're the ones running these systems, which I feel comfortable with. But it is something that has been a strain on us in terms of covering evening duties.
Yeah.
Middle school, high school has a ton of evening duties.
Mhm.
Elementary school has a fair share right now. The expectation, as it's been from day one, is to have our weapon detection system set up for special events. I know the middle school, I know the high school try to cover it with teams, but it is a strain on us. And we try to, are we doing that on a volunteer basis right now? Or we are paying those individuals out of school?
paid.
You're paying them. Yeah. Okay. We're paying them out of school activity funds right now. So it's an extra duty. But it's an important one and a valuable one.
Yeah, just saying, I hear what you're saying though, a background, but if you do an annual one, maybe a handful of people and just do background checks on them.
We
Even
can.
at like big functions where there's not, because there's so many going on at the same time and we have limited resources.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Yeah, we can look into
I
that.
don't even know if that would help, because if the metal detectors are somewhere else being used.
Well, we have enough at every building to, I mean, if we're running them during the school day, we typically have enough to run evening events.
Okay.
That's not a problem. It's just staffing them.
Kathy would love to. She would. Yeah, she has
Yeah.
security clearance. Okay, any other discussion? We had a motion made, right? Yes.
Not yet. We have a motion on that? Not yet.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve policy JF, GR, and KKR as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Oh,
Aye.
chair votes aye, motion carries. JFCM,
Yes, Madam Chair. So this is VSBA's stab at the student cell phone and smart device possession and use update based on Senate Bill 108. I'm going to tell you on the front end that I think the work that we have done as a local school division is more stringent and is more restrictive in terms of our cell phone policy right now. Coming out of Senate Bill 108, if you look at the language in VSBA's update, it references bell to bell, which we do in our policy right now. But if you go down to the section titled Student Cell Phones and Smart Device on School Property, and look at the second paragraph, that's the real update right there. And what it says is, from bell to bell, students are prohibited, meaning you cannot use your cell phone or smart device on school property in accordance with this policy. So it's prohibiting use. And then the next sentence, the division places restrictions on student possession of cell phone and smart devices from bell to bell as outlined below. So I think we were almost expecting there to be a prohibited word there on the state level for possession, but it's not there. I think right now our cell phone policy is more stringent than what we're getting from VSBA in terms of prohibiting use, but restricting possession. Because if you look at our policy talks about actually off your person. It has to be, what do we say, in a locker, backpack, or whatever it is. So my recommendation based on our policy and the VSBA policy is to keep ours as is. I don't think what came across from VSBA through Senate Bill 108 is any more restrictive than what we currently have.
Don't
So
we
I-
think, go ahead.
I see both of the VSBA policy here, followed by the school policy. Are we adopting the VSBA policy, or Or is this just to show us what the VSBA is versus ours?
It's just to show us. My recommendation would be to not adopt the VSBA policy. That is a locally revised policy that we have, and it makes things a little more challenging on our side. But I think I understand the will of the board, and our policy right now, based on what we've received from VSBA, our policy is more restrictive than what the board, what VSBA has. So my recommendation this evening would be to take no action on the VSBA policy.
One more question. So there are some exemptions in the VSBA policy. Do we have that exemption in our own policy? Like the diabetes management?
I think we have a section in our policy that covers medication, medicines, and such.
Okay,
Yeah, it's towards the end. Yeah, exceptions, that the final paragraph.
okay, I see it.
So what you're saying, this is not our policy that we're looking at?
The first policy, the one with the larger print, is VSBA's proposed policy to school boards across the Commonwealth.
Oh, there's ours right there.
The second one with the smaller print is our current one. I would recommend, based on what I've read in both policies, that we take no action on VSBA's policy and keep ours as is, unless there's any proposed changes to ours. But I think ours right now is more restrictive than what we've seen from the state.
Dr. Boyd, you just mentioned unless there's more that we want to add to our policy, which I think everybody in this room knows that some teachers enforce this policy and some teachers don't. So therefore, we should probably have something in the policy that covers teachers who don't support the policy or enforce the policy.
I would prefer if we kind of keep what we have in terms of our blanket policy and our evaluation system in terms of disciplining a student, or excuse me, disciplining an employee. I'm a little afraid of if we just put something specific in the cell phone policy that we're going to discipline for the cell phone policy, we would have to go through every single one of our policies that a teacher doesn't follow and say, if a teacher doesn't follow this, then we would include some type of reprimand up to termination. I think what I'm hearing you say and reading between the line is we have a high expectation for all of our staff to follow the cell phone policy. And if that isn't happening, then we would expect our principals to use the tools that they have at hand, the evaluation process, the reprimand process, and all that to the full extent that we have available to them. Is what I think I understand you wanting to have happen.
Yes, sir. And what do you think of what's the board's thoughts and yours about using this $96,000 that we just came across here today to purchase the pouches? That way it makes it easier on the principals, easier on the administrators. If those students put their phones in pouches when they come in. And I know that, you can go online and find ways to destroy those pouches and get around that. However, it's a lot easier and the temptation goes away if it's in a pouch. Just a thought, but something that the board can vote on.
I think that you still have the teacher issue because
Well, if it's in a pouch, the teacher can't let them use it,
Well, and it is now. I mean, I think what we hope to have happen is that we strongly enforce the cell phone policy, not just for our students, but for our teachers.
But that's not happening.
Yeah, no, I think they're hearing you.
We can ask members of this board if they can contact their kids, and they'll tell you what classes they can contact them in.
I hear you.
Riley never has his phone on him. No, I mean, we've walked around the schools even afterwards, and we walked in on students with their phones out at the end of class, with it being strict, just this past school year.
Mm-hmm.
And not just ones, pretty much anytime we walk in there, we can find a class where they're doing it. But so we just really want to crack down on it. We don't want to keep pushing it and let's just get it done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
You know, the whole nation now is talking about the reduction of screen time. So it's, I mean, it's not, if these teachers think they're doing these kids a favor by letting them have their phones, they're not. You've got to be living under a rock if you don't understand that these days.
Part of what I hear though, and something that we can look at and I discussed with you was, and you, Dr. Frank, Mr. Frank, is that a lot of times the teachers don't have time to get things done. So at the end of the class, they're trying to get things done. So they're allowing the students to do that so they can focus on something
Yeah, it's
else.
not an option.
No, I'm just saying that maybe we can look at, and I know you guys do, but maybe see why they're allowing it.
I was going to save this for later. We had our leadership retreat, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago? And one of the big topics of conversation we had was screen time, and we've talked a lot about it. And so it's certainly going to be a focus all the way. I mean, we've focused on it thus far through the summer. We're going to roll out the school year with that being somewhat of an expectation, not only, of course, with cell phones because it's already in policy, but even with Chromebooks and what we're looking at in terms of instructional applications. We're really taking a hard look at the amount of times kids are spending on screens. I don't want to get on my soapbox right now, but we need to make sure that we are doing what we know we can do with the human element of education. We need to make sure our teachers are teaching our students and we're not relying on programs so heavily so that at some point they don't need us anymore. And we certainly do not want that to be the case. We believe there's great value in the human element of education. I think I've said it a number of times. I've got this sign over my desk that says inspire, teach, believe. And I think all of those components is what a human can provide to the educational process and a screen cannot. So we've talked a lot about it. I can tell you we'll roll into the school year with it being a focus. So I think every year we've gotten a little bit better, but just like Mr. Frank, you know, you were a teacher yourself. There's 100 teachers in that high school. There's varying ranges. And I just use the high school as an example because I was there, but it's a full-time job to make sure that we've got 100 teachers on board with every single policy we have. And I'm sure, you know, Dr. Burns is doing the best job that he can and will continue to do so. But don't worry, it's certainly a focus of ours on making sure that we're following policy as presented.
What can this board do to help that be successful?
So we have talked in the past and about how painful it would be to invoke merit-based pay. And if we decided to pay based upon your performance and your merit or whatever, then that right there would potentially solve the problem, could make it worse.
Yeah,
So that's a thought.
that's a thought. Not a bad thought.
I don't know. My peace of mind at the end of a class might be worth the little bonus I get for enforcing policy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would help or not.
That's a conversation for a later day, but it's one that is certainly on our radar that we will be having.
Okay, so I need to get a motion, I believe. Or we're,
We need, well,
In
if you
discussion?
take my recommendation, we need no motion.
oh, we're not gonna do anything with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. I was looking at it and ours it's a lot more to it too. It says prohibited on ours. I think,
The biggest thing there is making sure that we're enforcing the policy.
yeah, like if the state is stepping down and saying prohibited. Did you hear that?
All right. Yeah, I did. My computer's acting up now. I'm not pulling JECR up.
Okay, let me see. Okay. You got it?
I got it. Yeah. Aaron's got me straight. All right. So
Wait, did we vote on it? Do we
we
have
don't need to vote on
is that what we're doing?
JFCM. No vote. Yeah. Are you ready for me to move forward, Madam
Yeah,
Chair?
I just didn't ask them if that's what we were going through, but I mean, we
Oh,
assumed
okay.
it, but you're
Okay, I'm
fine. Go
sorry.
ahead. No, it's okay.
All right, so JEC-R is our policy on school admission. This is our conversation on out-of-county students, Trigger Lane, all of the conversation we've had. What you'll see and what makes it seem like this isn't a big deal is our policy update. And the policy update is simply, if you scroll down you'll see the addition of bullet F, which we've striked the sentence that says the King George County School Division is not accepting applications for tuition paid enrollment, to now include if a student is a resident of the Commonwealth but not of the school division. We're basically including category F, which is one of the category that we would include for admission into King George County schools on a tuition basis. So that looks very vanilla. However, I can tell you that I believe in your executive content, in board docs, you'll see a lot of the background information and background discussions that have occurred when it comes to our conversations about non-resident tuition students. There is a lot to it, guys. There is considerations about when we accept non-tuition students, how we accept non-tuition students, who is responsible for those responsibilities, from admitting those students to taking tuition to not admitting those students after something happens. If you see in your executive content, I'm not going to read over all of this unless you guys want me to. I think what we are prepared for this evening is a policy a regulation revision that allows the school board to do non-resident tuition. And I think what I need from the school board this evening collectively is, number one, does the school board want to pass this regulation to allow non-resident tuition to be part of our policy? Number two, do we believe tuition should be part of that conversation? And then number three, what is an appropriate tuition? We've done research on that. We've taken a look at what other school divisions are doing. And I'm certainly happy to answer any questions that any board member has on any of the background work that took place to make sure that we've vetted this, because I'm telling you, there's a lot to it. There's issues that come from special education. There's issues that come from our governor schools. There's issues with VHSL and eligibility in terms of being an out-of-county student. So I'll stop there, Madam Chair, and allow you to direct the board and answer any questions that the board may have.
First, I want to real quick say thank you for all the hard work that you and your staff put into this for us. It's much appreciated. Mrs. Hoover?
I also have, thank you, have comments from Mrs. Cleveland. She does not believe the policy is ready to be approved because of all the things that you just said. Do we want all out-of-county students? We need to make sure we're attracting students that will utilize. We are not attracting students that will utilize other costs that will have to be paid for by King George County taxpayers. Those things, right? Those things that you just mentioned. And was there anything else in there? Oh, the discipline issues. So basically, also we're so close to Maryland. Are we going to make it Virginia residents only? So
take a look at, if you guys look in board docs at the executive content, do you see the document titled Proposed Internal Procedures for JEC-R Non-Resident Tuition Students? Huh? Are you guys logged into board docs?
What's it proposed?
So it's a document that is titled, a lot of those questions that you have right now, if we're going to update the policy is simple. The policy is we're going to accept out-of-county students. Now, what is in the background of that is everything that's really in this document. So if you take a look at this document, you're going to get a timeline for when we would accept out-of-county residents. You're going to get a criteria, which is, I think, what was just discussed there in terms of discipline. You're going to get basically considerations on capacity and enrollment, and they've broken it down by every single grade level. So every summer, we'll take a look at how many students go from one grade level to the next. We have an acceptable class size according to SOQ standards. And if there's a margin in there that is appropriate to accept an additional student at that grade level, we would open the opportunity for students to apply at that point. But if, let's say, we have a fifth grade at Sealston is at capacity, and we have a student that wants to enroll in fifth grade at Sealston, for that reason alone, we would not honor that request. So that's the status of criteria. Continuing down, you can see the process for determining class sizes. If you really have the opportunity to read through this, what you're going to see is a real effort of being open, being honest, and being transparent with our ability to accept out-of-county students. Because if we get ourselves into a position, let me back up. We don't want to get ourselves into a position where it looks like we're picking and choosing not based on an established criteria that we have. So you can see that criteria laid out pretty specifically, but are you able to get in? You're not seeing it?
No,
Shucks.
it's okay. We can,
Yeah.
I believe you.
Okay.
The last one is, do we have no refunds? Do we have specifically no refunds on tuition?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all. You covered everything. I don't know. I can't get into that.
Okay. And then the last thing I want to share with you is the letter that would go out. So this letter here is based on tuition rates. And so and because this would become a fee, this is also something that the school board would have to approve. Just like we just approved the policy, I think JN. So based on our research, to approve tuition rates for 26-27 for out-of-county students and out-of-state students, we basically take the per pupil expenditure for King George County Schools, which next year, based on our budgeted amount that we just went through the budget cycle, for in-state students, for students that are, let's say, living in Stafford County, the tuition rate would be $6,100. If they're out of state, meaning they're over in Southern Maryland and crossing the bridge to come over to King George County, the recommendation is for them to cover the entire cost of pupil expenditure, state, federal, and local. That cost is $16,100. Once they make that commitment, if they get here and they decide they want to enroll in the Academy of Technology or Innovation, they decide they want to enroll in the Chesapeake Bay Governor's School, they decide they want to enroll in Commonwealth Governor's School, they pay those tuitions. And then if they come here with an IEP, or they come here and become eligible, any of those special education services, per individual IEP is the responsibility of that family to cover those costs. Some people will reference FAPE, free and appropriate education for special education students. That is a law. However, that is a law for their local education agency. So if they go back to their home school division, then FAPE is required. If they come to King George County School Division, then our policy and procedures would require them to cover the cost of those services.
I think those are all fair. And I know there was a lot of work that went into that. And I think all those things are absolutely fair to ask, because the residents of this county pay for those through, their taxes and living here. So.
Absolutely.
With the policy that you have with the red lines, it just says a resident of the Commonwealth, but not the school division. So it sounds like we're already discounting out of state.
I think in our procedures, that's totally at the preview of the board. If you want to, that's your call. If you guys would like to include only in-state or out of state. There are some school divisions right now from our research, Caroline considers both in-state and out of state. They're the only ones that we saw that considered the out of state setup.
So this is where I stand and this is what I'm going to vote for. So mine's going to be yay or nay. The only reason we're having this discussion is because of one lane in King George that has over the years wanted to come to our schools. So I don't want to open all this up to our school system staff and put all that weight on our schools. What I'm willing to do is to do a radius, like a mile or 2 radius from the border and a cap.
The radius won't work for us.
Why?
Because there's really no boundary there. There's no way for us to assess that. I mean, if we do out of county tuition, I think we're in good shape. The radius would be very difficult for us to figure out.
I don't understand why if you only have to do it one time. Like how far Google Maps will tell you how far that house is from our school or from King George County line. I just think that this is a lot on our schools, and we would not be having this conversation if we did not know the family.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
So
Yeah, and you know, that's a conversation we've had pretty extensively at the school board office level of, you know, what type of workload is this going to put on the school division? And
there's
to be
no way
honest
to.
with you, I think the work is done. We still do not know what the variable is in terms of the number of students that would be interested in paying this tuition and coming. That is an entirely unknown variable to us right now.
It might be very small right now, but in 2030, we're expected an increase in students that are on our school system as of where we're at right now with no new high school, no new elementary school, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you did address the fact that if we're already at capacity.
But how would you know? So what if we had an out of county student come in and then 2 weeks later, a new family moves into our schools and needs that same classroom space? And now we're maxed because we just allowed it. You know what I mean? Like, how do we know when to cut it off when really we don't? We're not.
No, we do that right now. So the out of tuition, the out of county tuition is annually. You have to do it every year. So the kid gets in first grade and then moves up to the second grade, and we have a bunch of people moving to the community. They're not automatically able to come to our school division. But to your point, right now,
I think we're going to see this not this year, not next year as much, but we might see it once our football gets kicking off and being amazing again. People wanting to come to our schools, which that kind of VHSL stops that pretty much.
well, VHSL is that's their own umbrella, and King George really
they're
doesn't have
not
much to
here-
say about that. Now, VHSL rule is if you're not, the new VHSL rule is if you're not established by the beginning of your 8th grade year, which means if you're not in King George Middle School by the beginning of your 8th grade year, then you are ineligible for VHSL sports on the high school level. That's out of our hands.
That's for all 4 years?
No, 365.
Okay.
Yeah, so you sit out 1 year. So the way VHSL works right now is if you're a non-resident student and your parents didn't move and you came in, let's say your 8th grade year or 9th grade year, you are ineligible for 365. Now, if you move, VHSL says that you are allowed one bona fide move with your family. So if one time within high school, if you move from Westmoreland County into King George County, you remain eligible. You don't have to sit out 365.
Dr. Board, how many times have we had to, if you don't know, it's okay, but how many times have we had to say no to people because they were out of county residents?
Say that again.
How many times in the past 2-3 years have we said no to students because they were out of county?
It's usually a few times a year. And again, I mean, there's.
And I'm not talking about kids that get kicked out of Colonial Beach and need to go to another school system. I'm talking about kind of like this. What I'm trying to do is prevent it because I really don't want to do it, but I also want to help this family. And it is the only real situation we've had over the years. And I just don't see if we just did a border or radius, we wouldn't be having students come in.
We're good with this process the way it's set up right now. So this ratio system that we have set up, I think that's going to answer your concern about, you know, if we get into a situation where our out of county kids are taking seats from our in county kids. I think this process that we have right now is going to handle that. But to your point, it's just going to be, you know, extra work for the school division as far as the management responsibilities of collecting tuition.
I just feel like we don't really
evaluating
have
students.
a problem worldwide, as countywide. I think we had one situation that's opening up this door.
Fair enough.
And so why not just, how can we help that one situation?
We can't. Well, we can't. That's exactly why we put all the work into this, because what that's going to look like in the community is us.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not grasping the no to the radius. I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No,
I know you know it here, and
I
I'm
know.
just not understanding why.
I know what you're saying. It's just not. It's going to be a difficult. We would be in the same situation we're in right now with the county border, where the radius thing is nothing more than expanding the county border.
No, it's more like an
The-
exception. If you live close to King George and you want to pay a tuition, you are welcome, as long as you live in within a mile or 2 miles of King George.
We can do that now. We can do that now with this setup with the ratios. If there's
Are you
room
saying we're accepting that already?
with this new policy, yeah. So if you're on Trigger Lane right now, and let's say you want to come in as a third grader.
No, I know you're saying we could do that now, but what I'm saying is I want to leave it at that radius. I don't want to open it to beyond that radius. So that's, if you're saying we can do it now, why can't we do it then?
We can do it with this policy, but it's not a radius. We're not looking at it as a radius, because I really want to
That's
get
gonna
away
be
from.
my vote. My vote is going to be limit to how far out they can be. Otherwise, I'm not voting for it. I don't want to open this. I feel like it's
I'll be
putting a
honest
lot
with
on
you.
our school system.
You wouldn't upset anybody in the school board office right now if the decision is that we're not taking tuition students. If the idea of the school board per policy is that you want to take tuition students, I would humbly request giving us the opportunity to make sure that we have the procedures in place so that we can comfortably do that in a very open, honest, and transparent way for all of our students.
You could,
I don't want to get into a situation where it looks like we are favoring a particular family, where we are favoring somebody within a particular radius. We're not favoring anybody. If you, other than our residents, if you don't qualify, because we by state law have to provide you a public education, if you're a King George County citizen, if you're outside of that border, then we've set up a system where we can consider you, just like we do with variances right now on our elementary level. I know we can't look at it this evening, but I would encourage you guys to really take a look at all that hard work that has gone into that process. It's important for all of us, and I think even the school board would agree, for us to make sure that whatever we decide we're going to do, it's well communicated, it's open and transparent, and at the end of the day, it's fair for everybody that wants to do it. Because
have a lot of discrimination in that policy. So I don't understand why putting a radius on it is way bigger than what's already in there. As far as what you're saying, we're making people feel like we're just discriminating. If you're special needs, you're not welcome unless you pay for it. I mean, that's pretty harsh. So I don't understand by solving the only problem that we really had, which is bringing this up, allowing them to come to our schools. Any family that lives on Sealston side, 2 miles north, west of us, which would be through the river, that'd be another thing we have to consider, both rivers crossing over.
well, one is a member of the Commonwealth. So Caroline County is like Westmoreland County, like Stafford, like Spotsy.
Okay.
The out of state would be Southern Maryland.
And then Carrie said something about a cap. I'm not satisfied with
We have a cap.
not understanding.
The cap is the cap is the ratios I'm talking about.
What is the cap?
All right, so let me see if I can explain it in greater detail.
No, I mean, is there a number?
All right, so
Not,
yes, there is a number. So right now, I really wish you guys could open this. We have SOQ numbers for, you guys, standards of quality for the number of students we can have in kindergarten classes. Aaron's going to email it to you guys so you can take a look at it. It would be helpful. We have SOQ numbers for the number of students we can have in a kindergarten class. We have SOQ numbers for the number of students we can have in an English class. We have certain class sizes that are considered acceptable for CTE courses. Wait, I'm gonna wait till you guys get this email because I think it's gonna be more powerful than me trying to explain it. All four. Oh, all three attachments. Yeah.
All five,
Yeah.
include Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, all three attachments.
It's on its way.
Thank you.
Did you put me on the email too, or no? Okay. You guys get it yet? All right. It might be beneficial if I walk you through
I think so.
procedures.
Not yet.
You got it?
Oh, wait. No.
Traveling all the way around the world.
Yeah.
The internet's running slow in here for some
It is. Yeah.
What are you guys over here, Mrs. Troublemakers? Don't shake your head, no, Kathy. You're the what?
Did you get it? Look, you got it, Rachel.
Got it.
All right.
All right. If you have it, open the attachment that says non-resident tuition students proposed internal procedures for JEC-R. See that one?
Mhm.
Second one.
The second one. Oh, okay. All right. So this is
Okay.
all right.
All right. So the first thing you're going to see is the year one timeline because we're really behind the 8 ball already in terms of knowing where we are in terms of criteria, knowing where we are in terms of capacity. You'll see the future timeline next, where we start this process as early as May 1st. The next thing you'll see is criteria, and this is what you were asking, Colleen, criteria for determining grade level status. So we have 3 statuses. We have open, which is green. We have wait list, and then we have closed. And that's based on the ratio of students at that grade level. Now go down. What do I mean by ratio at that grade level? Do you see the next page down?
Well, it says 4 students below the cap,
Yeah, so
grade level.
and the cap is the SOQ. So for kindergarten, the SOQ is 24 students to 1 teacher.
Okay.
If we have 4 kindergarten teachers, then we can take 96 kindergarten kids.
Right.
All right, so now that's the SOQ for kindergarten. So now if we've got a kid coming in as a kindergartner, the process is the school board office team is going to see if we have a ratio of 4 students, meaning that we have the room in each one of those classrooms for 4 students, because we feel comfortable with that ratio. To your point,
Yeah.
if we get other King George County kids that show up, which we do, the ratio of 4 usually gives us enough space.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. If we have a ratio of 1 to 3, we've got to put that kid on a wait list because we might get more King George students. And at that point, we're going to take our students before we take out of county students. And then the last one is if the ratio is not in our favor, then it's entirely closed. So that helps us prioritize. If you go down, you'll see the process for determining the class size. And then take a look at this next thing, the priority categories. This is the priority that we're going to put all of our students in. So King George residents are number 1 priority. They come in no matter what. And then the elementary variances, which we do every year. Somebody at Sealston wants to go to Potomac because they're closer to the base or whatever it may be. That's our first consideration. Beyond that, the next consideration is KG residents that are part-time applications because we have homeschool families, but there are residents. That's a secondary consideration. The third consideration is non-residents of employees. We've always allowed our employees that don't live in King George County but work in King George County to bring their children to school here, which is a good policy and one we want to keep. That's the third priority. All of those things happen before we consider non-resident, out-of-county tuition paid students. And then it goes into the lottery process, the review committee, except that document there really explains it in really great detail. I'm sorry you couldn't see it in board docs.
Dr. Boyd, have you ever been to a school that allowed it?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever been involved in a school or in the process of open tuition?
Yeah, so in Richmond County, we went through this. We
You
went
did
through
share that.
implementing this type of policy because in Richmond County, at the time, there were a number of students that wanted to come from out of county. They weren't paying tuition, and it became publicly known.
Yeah.
And when it became publicly known, a lot of folks started showing up at the school board saying, I'm not comfortable with people using our school division, using our resources and not paying the same share that we as residents pay. So I went through the entire process with the school board and superintendent at the time of drafting a very similar type of process to accept out-of-county students. They were welcoming of out-of-county students because they had no capacity issues.
Right.
I mean, it was a much smaller school division. And to be honest, they welcomed the state and additional local funds that came from the tuition base. As our enrollment's shrinking right now, that's a consideration. We can afford to take students. But to your point, when 2030 hits, which is only a few years away, Weldon Cooper is saying we're going to start ticking back up in enrollment. So if that's the case, again, all of this policy and all of these procedures cover us there. But it's likely that if we're accepting a lot of students next year, it's likely by 2030 that we're not accepting a lot of students if our enrollment climbs to a level where the capacity or the ratio is not acceptable.
Anybody else?
I think that tuition alone is going to be a big deterrent. And especially for if you have to drive an hour or so to get to the school plus pay for it, I think that's a big deterrent.
Depends. I did too, but Carrie had a good point. Some of these people are paying $14,000 in private school fees because they don't want their kids. So then they can go to King George for $6,000. That's what's going to happen.
Well, he does have a whole process for whether or not to
Yeah.
accept them.
Madam Chair, if I may, we've talked about this for a long time, and I think one of the evident things that have come out is we're talking about this because of a personal thing, a personal issue. We all know this family. We know that they are, I've had three of them in my classes, or two of them in my classes, and one I knew well. And it's a great family. And if the school board had done its job back in 2008 and taken care of Trigger Lane, it would have been, a specific Trigger Lane thing, and it wouldn't have opened it up to anybody else. However, that didn't happen. And now I would love to say, we go ahead and we do this and we charge a tuition for people coming in. But bottom line is, I think that's going to open up a can of worms that I don't think we want to face, because it's going to hit a lot of different people and departments, special ed, if somebody in Westmoreland County is not happy with special ed, well, let's just move to King George. Let's just put them in King George. If Caroline's the same, Stafford's the same. Across the river, we can stop because it's not inside the Commonwealth. But I don't think we can stop it anywhere else. I would love to help this family out. But if we do, I think we're opening up a can of worms. And that's my opinion.
Unless you did a radius.
Do what?
Unless we did a radius.
Even, and if That radius, I thought about that last week or whatever, but when you sit down and you think about that radius, you're still doing it for one family. And I mean, I love this family. I think they're great, but I don't, it's just too much. They've done all the work and I really appreciate that. But like Dr. Boyd says, I don't think anybody will be upset if we say no because of the feelers that they think she's going to put out and what it's going to affect that's out there.
Since Mrs. Cleveland's not here, can we table it till next meeting?
We can. It's just it'll just put our timeline for this year a little bit behind, but
She's only one person, unless you think she can add something to the table.
oh, Aaron's reminding me the school year is going to start before the
Okay.
next meeting. I mean, we can
We
obviously,
can vote.
no action is
All that's needed.
yeah, all that's needed if that's the decision of the board.
Well, I think we can vote.
Where do you stand?
Well, I am okay. I feel like they've really done all the work needed to answer all the questions that Carrie had, questions that I had. I am fine with accepting out of county students, not out of state, and charging a tuition.
I am okay with the policy, and I'm with Rachel. I'm okay with out of county, but not out of state.
Ed, Ms. Frank?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we do nothing with this and keep the policy as is.
We don't have a second unless I second. It's 2-2 right now, so we all need Carrie.
Well, we can table it until next time. 2-2 is no action. 2-2 means we take no action right now. If that, I mean, we
No,
didn't formally do that, but if that's what you're predicting is going to be the case,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know where she stands.
we can table it until you can ask us to move it to the next agenda if you want. It's going to put us behind on this year,
Yeah.
but we can take that direction from the board. We have a motion on the floor. If there's no second, the motion dies.
Well, I would have to second. See, the chair can second it if there's no one, if it's a tie break.
Oh, you can definitely second. Yeah.
So, I mean, but then we don't have a tie-breaking vote is what I'm trying to say. I can second it all day long, but it's still going to be a no. What do you guys feel about the fact that it's going to be late? What's that mean for them to have understanding?
Final. So if we implemented the policy after the start of the school year, I think what it's going to mess up, most of the stuff is in order. Just the beginning of that document where it says the timeline. Ideally, you see the future timeline where this process starts all the way back in May.
I have an idea.
Okay.
I can call Carrie after this meeting or when this week. And if she is for it, we would still have to have a public meeting, but we could have a quick meeting before then, like on Wednesday, we can add it to that one.
She can't vote on it though.
Oh, because she's not here. Well, maybe her feedback though would help me.
Yeah, it's still, I mean,
I thought we had a meeting at the end of July.
We do.
it's a personnel meeting. Yeah, I mean, we could put it on that was just a special personnel meeting that we were going to have, but we do have that opportunity. We can make that a business meeting. Yeah. Yeah, that would be 2 weeks before school. I mean, that gives us a little more time. We can table it until that meeting. I mean, that meeting was typically our emergency personnel meeting that we do every year.
I know.
Not going to be here?
What are you talking?
Well, it would be, it's okay if he's not, as long as we know we're,
28th is that meeting. Is that what you were saying? I can't hear what these fans is.
28th of what, July?
28th of July is usually our personnel meeting, but
Let me hear.
20th?
it's October
20th.
20th.
Here.
yeah.
Thanks.
You'll be here?
Yep.
And you guys can, if it's voted in, you guys can get that done?
I think the only thing that's going to create a challenge for us this year, but I think we can handle that.
It's probably just gonna be one student. I'm just saying.
Okay, so I would say then the recommendation this evening would be to table it until July 20th.
Yes.
Want to make a motion and accept the motion for that?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we table this until the next meeting on 20 July.
I need a second.
What if I don't want to?
What? You don't have to. Do you want to?
Seems like
Nobody has to second it.
Second.
If it's not seconded, it dies.
second.
You guys are making this complicated. Screaming, get it done now, and now she doesn't even want to second it. Sorry, that was rude.
I seconded.
Thank you. All in favor, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, July 20th.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate everybody's feedback.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
on our last policy, on the phone policy, I made a motion that we use the $95,000, $96,000 to purchase Yonder bags, and we never went anywhere with that. Again, if there's no second, it dies.
You made a motion to use that 95,000 to buy the bags.
Yes.
I'll second. We can discuss it.
Well, yeah, can we have a discussion? What were you using that 95,000 for already?
I'd have to, I don't know that I have it earmarked. I would have to speak with Jen about that. And that, I mean, I'd like to vet that idea with the principals, but of course you guys are school board and you want us to use Yonder bags. That is,
Would that mean that every student would have to use, you want every student to have to use that? Because I don't,
That's what happens when you have Yonder bags. Every student gets one, and they put it in at the start of the day, and they take it out at the end of the day.
Can you get that done too, by the way?
you want any feedback from our principals?
I
Sounds like a really big logistical issue.
Sure, let's get the feedback from the principals, from Dr. Burns
We have a lot of tension up here.
and Dr. Nice.
Dr. Burns, Dr. Nice, can you come up forward, please? This is regarding the Yonder bags. Ed's been wanting them for 3 years now, which would solve a lot of problem, but we don't know what that looks like for you guys this close to the new year. What are your thoughts on it, if you don't mind?
I'm supportive of it. But I would, I think I've talked with other principals. There are principals that have had success with it, and there are principals that are not having success with it. Those that have used them, that I've heard that have not had success, damage to them, replacements of them, recurring costs. I could tell you that I would be very supportive of piloting something and not necessarily purchasing one for every child, but purchasing them for the students that are the chronic offenders would be a good starting point, in my opinion.
It's a great idea.
That would give us some data on, or at least learn a little bit about it, because I've never utilized them. But I know there are principals that swear by them, and I know there are principals that say it could be a headache. But they are very expensive. So I would say to Mr. Frank's motion, I'm for it. If we could maybe start small and then go from there. I think I did a cost estimate, and it was like 20.
They're about $30 a piece.
It was like 20,000. I mean, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
I think it'll take
What?
majority of that 96.
Ed's seeing.
What is so special about them that they're that expensive?
Well,
Demand.
It's true, demand.
Is it just a bag or?
It's magnetic.
Okay, so it's like a Faraday cage?
It's a neoprene bag that has a magnetic lock on it.
It's the same bag when you go to concerts that you put your phone in.
Well, The one thing
We
we
haven't
have,
been to
I
a
mean,
concert.
just because I'm thinking out loud, there's some logistics with it because you have to unlock the bags at the end of the day. So you have to be prepared for that. I'm not sure what that would look like with 1,500 students at the end of the day leaving at different points and getting their bags unlocked.
Also, how do you ensure that everybody puts them in?
Well,
Well, we went down the Hopewell and saw that. You did, didn't you go with me? Oh,
And I'll tell you too, my savvy middle daughter, when we were talking about this, it took her 30 seconds to TikTok and Instagram 10 different ways to bust these things open.
but
Well, don't tell the kids that.
Kids know more than we know.
I'm not saying that this is the best way to go. I'm saying that it is there because teachers are not following
Yeah.
the instructions. They're still allowing their kids to be on phones in their classrooms. And this takes that away from them to do that.
Yes.
Mhm.
I would agree with you on that. As long as there are policies and there's teachers not following policies, there will always be a need for principals. So, but yes, we could certainly ratchet that up. We converse about that quite a bit.
Good, Dr.
as an
Burns.
administrative team.
I mean, Dr. Nice, he's been here with us since the beginning of all this. And he's,
I mean, I'm not opposed to it either. I think there are a lot of logistics. I'm not naive. I know that our middle school students are sneaky and they do things, but also, if I go into a classroom, I do not see cell phones out. If students are using them at the middle school, it's in the restrooms and things like that, where hard to monitor. And again, they're sneaking them in. So I think what Dr. Boyd was saying, they're going to find ways to kind of circumvent a bag. But again, at the middle school, I think if you walk into a classroom, at least anytime I've been in, I've never seen a student on a phone since we implemented this policy.
what do you think about that, Ed, Dr. Frank, Mr. Frank, about like if they've been in trouble before already?
That's what I was just getting ready to talk to I asked Dr. Burns, how many bags do you think how many repeat offenders do you have and how many bags would you need right now?
I would say you start off with 100. 100 would be great. And that gives us the ability to kind of feel it out and work with it, see what it's like, see if it's worth, a further investment, and also plan for, that further investment in terms of what it would look like, what would the logistics of it be. So I would be a fan of 100 of those.
Can I ask you a question?
And then that 100 bags still leaves the problem out there of teachers allowing kids to be on phones.
Separate problem. But
But how are we going to fix that problem?
well, that's just, basically administrators reiterating, going in classrooms and, taking folks to task in terms of what you see.
Because as Colleen mentioned earlier, we can make that on the merit base also, but that just adds more work to you.
Well, right now what we do is we confiscate the phones and we do place them in, we have there's a box up in the main office. It's like a little,
And
we call it jail, cell phone jail. But it would be so much easier to give the kids the Yonder pouches and address it that way for the offenders instead of accepting responsibility. My biggest worry is when we take phones, we better make sure that we return them the way we found them. And there have been times in my experiences where sometimes things get broken. I would rather use a Yonder pouch to address frequent offenders. And then you can also, those kids, you can also implement, situations where those kids who are frequent offenders, they get that pouch every day when they come in the building, every day.
Well, I'm definitely not opposed to that. I just want to find some remedy for half the teachers saying no and half the teachers letting kids get on phones.
Well, that certainly is an issue. I cannot deny that.
But I still don't hear a fix.
Well, the fix is holding teachers accountable.
Yeah, I think like Dr. Boyd said, that I think they hear us with what we're saying.
Well, a lot of it is, I would call it, teachers need to be responsible in terms of scanning and supervising their classes. There are a lot of teachers that are really good at that. And then there are some teachers that sometimes when you walk in a classroom, the kids are on their phones and the teacher pretends like they don't know it. Well, you don't know it because you're not supervising appropriately. I mean, that's more of the bigger issue, is what I would say.
Then,
Um,
yeah, I would be satisfied with 100 for the high school. Do we need, Dr. Nice, do you need any?
I think we maybe had a handful of repeat offenders, but by the time they got to 3, like we never had an issue again with students. I mean, I'm happy to have some in trial if we do get to the 3 offenses, but again, it wasn't a huge problem at the middle school.
Yeah, Dr. Burns, a little background, because we've been doing it 2 years before you came. And it's always been an issue at the high school. And so Ed's just trying to like get this solved fast. And unfortunately, it's your first year. So you're kind of feeling the heat to get it done. So I guess we should just let you decide with him how many you would need. And if it's feasible, if we can do it, the school board back supports that.
We can work through it. Understanding what you guys are saying, we can work through the logistics of what we're hearing.
I mean, at one time we had one offender 17 times. And that wasn't funny to us. It was funny to the crowd, but it wasn't funny to us. And so we don't want past 3 really would be great, but that's your job and for you guys to decide. But yeah, we would like to nip it by now. So if it's possible. All right. Any questions?
No.
But thank you guys for all you do. Yeah.
Do we need to do something for the motion since we had the discussion? And
No, we don't need a motion.
okay.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
directed.
All right.
Mhm.
Then did Carrie say anything about that? I think she said something about HR and I think she did say something about the phone.
What's that? Carrie.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Where are we at? Let me get. So,
Committee reports.
alrighty. Let me get there. I'm sorry. I'm on.
Probably don't have any. I wouldn't imagine.
The only one I have, but I'll be last. Committee reports, Mrs. Scott.
No committee reports.
I have none.
No.
The Chesapeake Bay Governor's School they're trying to work to where they can have one free student come to their school,
Yes.
which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
How they're going to make that work. It's in the making right now, but within the next 3 years, they would like to see that go.
I've heard that. That's excellent.
Yeah. So it's in a rotation. So I don't know if that's rotation of divisions, but that's what I got out of it. That was a pretty cool update. All right. So moving on from where are we at?
Superintendent report.
Report
Is that where
superintendent.
we are?
That's you.
Is that where we are?
That's where we are.
Okay. All right. So, contrary to popular belief, summer is busy, guys. We are, there's certain departments that go into hyperdrive in the summertime, HR, and staffing with our principals. Technology has a lot of moving parts in the summertime. Maintenance has a lot of moving parts right now in the summertime. So we've got a lot of things going on right now. Maintenance is focused on our preschool move. So we've got our some high school kids and all of our maintenance staff moving the preschool rooms around and making sure that that's ready to go. If you've been by the middle school, you'll see that the middle school sidewalk project is just about complete,
did see that,
which
yes.
is wonderful. It's going to be great
Nice.
to have that access there. Also at the middle school, you see the safety fence up now around the vocational center. So we're getting everything in order so that we can demo that here real soon. I think the permit was issued today, I believe. That will be in the hand of the demolition company, and they're moving still within the timeline to have that building entirely demoed before the start of the school year. We are beginning to review proposals for the new vocational center. So we had a ton of feedback on architectural firms in our initial meeting. I mean, there were folks from all over the state that were interested in this contract. And here in the next week or so, we're going to take a look at the proposals presented. And then following that, we'll do the interview process and everything we do in the procurement process to hopefully procure an architect to design the vocational building. I'll make sure you guys are abreast and in the loop on all of those changes.
She could do it.
So things are moving in the right direction as far as that project is concerned. What else maintenance-wise are we working on right now? Like there was one other thing that I wanted to share with you guys. You saw where we had the conference, the school board hearing. We're in the process of repurposing some rooms and making some shifts at the school board office. We had our leadership retreat 2 weeks ago now. We started the summer with a number of breakout sessions. It included Whitney from Sands Anderson, the attorney that came and answered all of our legal questions. We had HR give us some information on a new evaluation system. I told you already that technology presented an initial session on screen time and some alternatives to screen time. We also took a look at some of our accountability and accreditation data, and we're making moves in terms of how we reallocate resources to address some of the weaknesses that we have in some of those areas. We're making a lot of moves this summer so that we start convocation and we begin the school year in a successful place. I think just last week we went to a regional AI conference that was in Stafford, and to be quite frank, I left there kind of scared, learned more about AI than I probably need to know. But it's interesting. I mean, between our screen time conversations and AI, I will say that my convocation message back to staff and our teaching staff is teach your heart out, really teach, because I think what we can provide as humans is very important, and we don't want to be replaced by any of these other things coming along. And quite frankly, I don't think we can be. I think that there's a great power that we provide as humans providing education to our children. So that's going to be the message coming out of the gates when we start the school year. So I'll stop there, Madam Chair. Thank you.
And Dr. Boyd, have you heard anything about a retreat with the Board of Supervisors and the school board?
So at their last meeting, they discussed, they were talking about budget, and one of the Board of Supervisors members mentioned that they would like the Board of Supervisors and the school board to get together to discuss, I believe the two topics that they mentioned were healthcare moving forward from a county level and a school board level, and also merit-based pay. So I reached out to county administrator and briefly discussed those topics with them. If I get any more feedback from the county administrator I'm certainly open to it. I think there would be value there for our board and their board to discuss that early on in the process. I can tell you at the school board office level, we've talked about healthcare and what we intend to do in this next cycle. So that's certainly on our radar.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, board comments?
Me?
You want me to start with Scott? I can start with.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
As always, I want to thank the staff and teachers. There's still teachers around doing quite a bit of work for everything that you do. I know for everybody, there's been a lot of work that went in on this Sugar Lane thing, and I really thank you for it. Dr. Boyd, you and I've discussed it with Dr. Burns also about governor schools and how do we get a level playing field there? Because right now, every one of our valedictorians comes from one of the governor schools. And if you want to say King George High School doesn't, or the main body doesn't have a chance there because they don't have all the weighted courses that the governor schools have. One of the ways that we could fix that is to add more AP classes to the ninth graders. But then I was talking with a parent says, well, if you do that, then there's no need for governor school. But there needs to be, this is talking to a lot of people, students especially, there needs to be a level playing field there, because the students at the, if you want to call a main body, at the main body have no incentive because they know that everything's coming from the governor's schools. And, so is there something we can do there? Is there any thought that, I don't have a solution for it. But is there something we can do there to make this a level playing field? That's one thing. You want to address that first? Sure.
To it now if you want. And Dr. Burns and I haven't talked about it too much. I think and I don't disagree with what you're saying. I do believe that CBGS and CGS for years, not just at King George High School, but I'll tell you, most places, in fact, one of the things, who's my rep? Carrie's the rep for CGS, but CBGS will tell you the same thing. They usually sit in those meetings and talk about the valedictorian from Riverbend was CGS. The valedictorian from Brook Point was CGS. And they go through that because they're proud of it. So I don't think the answer is to lower the bar at all for those students because we need to make sure that we understand the competitive nature of our students and how they rank compared to students outside of King George High School, and making sure that they are competitive in terms of their GPA and transcript and everything when they're competing for positions at elite universities and such. The answer is to raise the bar inside with our program of studies and the regular classes we have within the high school. So I can tell you there's been a whole lot of work with dual enrollment in the last couple of years, and it's really gotten a lot stronger than it was when I started in public education. I think there's opportunity there to increase dual enrollment offerings, and then there's opportunities for AP courses, but again, not getting the cart ahead of the horse. Those are conversations for the program of studies, and seeing if we can increase the number of opportunities that we have for our main school students. I'll tell you, I know in doing this in the past, the challenge is when you're a small to mid-sized school division is an economy of scale, is being able to offer a course and fill that section. You know what I mean? So if you offer an AP 9th grade world history or whatever the course may be, having enough, 20 some students to fill that class sometimes becomes the challenge. And for that reason, it becomes a very expensive proposition because you have a teacher that's, teaching a class of 5 students, and we don't want that. We want to be able to fill our classes, but that's the challenge. That's not the end of the conversation. I think where the conversation begins and what we hope we can bring back to the school board, in a short amount of time, is raising the bar for the students in the building as far as the opportunities that they have.
Yes, sir. And even if we raise that bar and add more classes, AP or dual enrollment, we're still talking 4 years out.
Yeah.
But what can we do now? Can we have valedictorians from governor schools and from the main body? If you just look at their name, you got the Chesapeake Bay Governor School. You got King George High School, which is right there. They tell you there's 2 different schools just in the name. So what can we do to even the playing field or level the playing field in the near future?
I can tell you it ebbs and flows, but there's a lot of school divisions that have entirely moved away from the valedictorian, salutatorian conversation altogether. In fact, every year, I was on a text feed this year where there's some schools in our region that are considering getting rid of it. In Richmond County, when I was there, again, that was my previous experience. They just went with the top 5. And they didn't even tell you who was number 1 and who was number 5. They just said, here's our top 5. And all of those individuals spoke at graduation. I don't know. There's certain things to consider. You wouldn't mind. We've talked about this, off record. I'd like to go to the high school and have some conversations with counseling and administration and get back to you.
And maybe we can put together a committee to come up with something. If we want to have another committee, but to come up with something there.
Yes, sir.
One of the other things I have is for years, to get recertification points or to get recertified, you had to be recertified every 5 years. Now it's every 10 years. That means a teacher could retire on 30 years and only have to recertify twice. To me, that gets rid of the motivation for a lifelong learner. And you don't have to get that 180 points anymore. So you're not out there taking college courses. You're not out there taking leadership courses and things, to improve your education, not only in your field, but then in whatever. So is there some way that, I'm sure the board could come up with a policy that says that, we want you to do this, this, and this, and this, but we can maybe hook this to the merit base also. And, if, make that part of taking college courses during the summer, or, just the stuff that Aaron put out the other day, of the courses that were down at RCC. You get points for those. And a lot of, I noticed that the first one that was there was a 4-hour leadership course for administrators. And I mean, I think that would be fantastic if we could, but of course that was on the 8th and this thing didn't come out until the 10th, I think, or something like that.
It was previously put out in the May newsletter.
Oh, okay. All right. But anyway, those things are really great, and we can get, people not only points for the recertification, but some classes, some leadership classes and whatever that are there. Now, within the military, and you and I have talked about this, the coming out of the Marine Corps and probably the Navy and Army and whatever, they put out a leadership or a commandant's reading list. And that reading list has leadership books that are there for everybody to read. Could you put out a superintendent's reading list?
Yes, I can. We're working on all of those. We've got books. Look, show me your books, guys. That's cool.
I gave him 2 today.
I've got more. We're focusing on that, and we've got. In fact, the guy that put on the 4-hour leadership course that you're talking about, his name's Joshua Cole. I've been in contact with him and seeing if he's interested in doing something in King George. So that's a possibility as well. So I'm going to talk to him. Leadership is certainly everybody in this room I know is lifelong learners. They are doing something in some avenue. I talk to all of them all the time about different things that they're interested in exploring. I think exploring it together, there's value there. I think doing book studies and regardless of the avenues that we take individually in terms of additional courses, book studies, whatever it is, I think there's great value in us growing as a leadership team. I'm so excited that our entire leadership team, of all principals and really most of all of our school board staff is coming back for a second year. I've told you guys the great value I believe there is in consistency among school board. There's an amazing value in consistency among school level leadership and school board office level leadership. We continue to grow on top of each other. So I don't disagree with anything you've said. We're expanding those opportunities for leadership locally and really looking for other opportunities outside of the school division as well through VAS and some other networks. There's great opportunity there. There's the Aspiring Superintendents Academy. There's the newly appointed Administrator Academy. All of those things are on our radar.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything so deep. I just wanted to say that the end of the school year was fun. And I realized after going to almost every single thing I could, I realized how exhausted all of you out in the audience must have been, because I only went for an hour or 2 to each event. And I know you got there early in the morning and stayed till late in the night. So thank you for all the fun things, all the wonderful, like the award ceremony at the high school. That was great. Just thank you for everything that you do. And that's all. Hope you're enjoying your restful summer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a whole lot either. I just wanted to acknowledge that last week, the Gifted Summer Camp completed, and at least from a parent's perspective, I think it was a success for the children. I know my son had a great time, and I really appreciate the work you guys put into that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you everyone for coming out. This long, boring, somewhat boring meeting. A little interesting. I don't have a lot to say. Just thank you for all the hard work. It is appreciated. And thank you for putting up with me sometimes, Dr. Boyd, not understanding your nose. We're going to talk later probably, but no, that sounded terrible. I just mean like, because I need to understand. I haven't eaten dinner, and that's pretty much what's going on here. Yeah, so I guess we'll just close meeting because I don't.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
pursuant to State Code Section 2.2-3712A of the Code of Virginia, I move that the board convene in a closed meeting to review hires, substitute resignations, reassignments, and retirements, and specifically for review superintendent's evaluation as permitted under 2.2-3711A number 1 of the Code of Virginia.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We are now in closed session. Terrible. You know it. I just sometimes.
I move that the King George County School Board return to open session and certify that pursuant to State Code Section 2.2-3712D, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified by the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, and considered in the meeting by the public body.
I second.
Certify.
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 Madam Chair, I move that we approve all the actions resulting from the closed meeting.
Discussion?
I second.
Any discussion? In favor?
Aye.
I motion that we adjourn.
No.
Second on adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Discussion?
Aye.
Aye.